It just got real, y'all. They going on race.
Yeah, how do you heal the divide? Secretary Clinton, you get 2 minutes on this.
Well, you're right. Race remains a significant
She better watch
challenge in our
herself.
country. Unfortunately, race still determines too much. Often determines where people live, determines what kind of education in their public schools they can get, and yes, it determines how they're treated in the criminal justice system. We've just seen those two tragic examples in both Tulsa and Charlotte.
Uh-oh.
And we've got to do several things at the same time.
Let me hear this.
We have to restore trust between communities and the police. We have to work to make sure that our police are using the best training, the best techniques, that they're well prepared to use force only when necessary. Everyone should be respected by the law, and everyone should respect the law. Right now, that's not the case in a lot of our neighborhoods. So I have, ever since the first day of my campaign, called for criminal justice reform. I've laid out a platform that I think would begin to remedy some of the problems we have in the criminal justice system. But we also have to recognize, in addition to the challenges that we face with policing, there are so many good, brave police officers who equally want reform. So we have to bring communities together in order to begin working on that as a mutual goal. And we've got to get guns out of the hands of people who should not have them. The gun epidemic is the leading cause of death of young African American men, more than the next 9 causes put together. So we have to do 2 things, as I said. We have to restore trust. We have to work with the police. We have to make sure they respect the community.
Thinking the same thing, Joe.
We have to tackle the plague of gun violence, which is a big contributor to a lot of the problems that we're seeing today.
All right, Mr. Trump, you have 2 minutes. How do you heal the divide?
I gotta hear
First of all,
this.
Secretary Clinton doesn't want to use a couple of words, and that's law and order. And we need law and order. If we don't have it, we're not going to have a country. And when I look at what's going on in Charlotte, a city I love, a city where I have investments, when I look at what's going on throughout various parts of our country, whether it's, I can just keep naming them all day long. We need law and order in our country. And I just got today, as you know, the endorsement of the Fraternal Order of Police. We just came in. We have endorsements from, I think, almost every police group. A large percentage of them in the United States. We have a situation where we have our inner cities, African Americans, Hispanics, are living in hell because it's so dangerous. You walk down the street, you get shot. In Chicago, they've had thousands of shootings, thousands, since January 1st. Thousands of shootings. And I'm saying, where is this? Is this a war-torn country? What are we doing? And we have to stop the violence. We have to bring back law and order. In a place like Chicago, where thousands of people have been killed, thousands over the last number of years. In fact, almost 4,000 have been killed since Barack Obama became president. Almost 4,000 people in Chicago have been killed.
I mean, what is law and order? Elaborate, please.
Whether or not in a place like Chicago you do stop and frisk, which worked very well. Mayor Giuliani is here. It worked very well in New York. It brought the crime rate way down. But you take the gun away from criminals that shouldn't be having it. We have gangs roaming the street. And in many cases, they're illegally here, illegal immigrants.
Oh! Ninja!
Very strong. And we have to be very, very...
Yo! Hold on. What is he trying to say, bro?
Now, our police, in many cases, are afraid to do anything. We have to protect our inner cities because African American communities are being decimated by crime.
Your 2 minutes expired, but I do want to follow up. Stop and frisk was ruled unconstitutional in New York because it largely singled out black and Hispanic young men.
No, you're wrong. It went
How you gonna tell him he wrong?
Judge, who was a very against police judge. It was taken away from her, and our mayor Our new mayor refused to go forward with the case. They would have wanted to appeal. If you look at it, throughout the country, there are many places
The
where it's
argument
allowed.
is that it's a form of racial profiling.
No, the argument is that we have to take the guns away from these people that have them and that are bad people that shouldn't have them. These are felons. These are people that are bad people that shouldn't be. When you have 3,000 shootings in Chicago from January 1st, when you have 4,000 people killed in Chicago by guns from the beginning of the presidency of Barack Obama, his hometown, you have to have stop and frisk. You need more police. You need a better community, relation. You don't have good community relations in Chicago. It's terrible. I have property there. It's
I'm curious to
terrible
see what her
what's going on in
interjection
Chicago.
is.
But when you look, and Chicago's not the only. You go to Ferguson. You go to so many different places. You need better relationships. I agree with Secretary Clinton on this. You need better relationships with the communities and the police.
He said, "I agree."
It's not good. But you look at Dallas, where the relationships were really studied. The relationships were really.
What is he talking about?
And then
Of all the...
police officers were killed one night very violently. So there's some bad things going on, some really bad things.
Secretary Clinton,
But we need, Lester, we need law and order.
How you gonna tell?
In the inner cities, because the people that are most affected by what's happening are African American and Hispanic people, and it's very unfair to them what our politicians are allowing to happen.
Secretary Clinton.
Well, I've heard Donald say this.
You know how like somebody
at his
fumbles a
rallies,
ball and like somebody else can just pick it up and run with it? This is on her. If she doesn't score, that's on her.
Negative picture of black communities in our country.
Ugh.
You know, the vibrancy of the black church.
She need to stop reading that script.
Black businesses
Just talk.
that employ so many people, the opportunities that so many families are working to provide for their kids. There's a lot that we should be proud of and we should be supporting and lifting up. But we do always have to make sure we keep people safe. There are the right ways of doing it, and then there are ways that are ineffective. Stop and frisk was found to be unconstitutional. And in part because it was ineffective. It did not do what it needed to do. Now, I believe in community policing, and in fact, violent crime is 1/2 of what it was in 1991. Property crime is down 40%. We just don't want to see it creep back up. We've had 25 years of very good cooperation, but there were some problems, some unintended consequences. Too many young African American and Latino men ended up in jail for nonviolent offenses, and it's just a fact that if you're a young African American man and you do the same thing as a young white man, you are more likely to be arrested, charged, convicted, and incarcerated. So we've got to address the systemic racism in our criminal justice system. We cannot just say law and order. We have to say we have to come forward with a plan that is going to divert people from the criminal justice system, deal with mandatory minimum sentences, which have put too many people away for too long for doing too little. We need to have more second chance programs. I'm glad that we're ending private prisons in the federal system. I want to see them ended in the state system. You shouldn't have a profit motivation to fill prison cells with young
Oh,
Americans.
snap.
There are some positive ways we can work on this. And
This is gonna be
believe
interesting,
strongly
y'all.
That common sense gun safety
Joe, how many
measures
weeks
would
they got of this?
assist us right now.
How many weeks they got of
This is
this?
something Donald is
Or days they got of this?
along with the gun lobby right now.
Y'all,
We've got
I'ma say it again. No matter what she's saying right now, I mean, I put my faith in no man. I'm praying for the leaders and I'm praying for my nation. Do y'all hear me? Pray for our nation now. Because the things that are happening right now are relevant to what's going to happen later. You know what I'm saying? All right, y'all. Just keep it blessed. I'm done for the night. Gotta stop.